watching Big Lou Barbecue and other things I want to do. And what I want to do today is tell you about some ThermoWorks products. That's right, ThermoWorks, all right? Now, if you're not familiar with ThermoWorks, I hope to make you familiar with them today. Now, this is a video I've been wanting to do for quite some time about the ThermoWorks products that I use and how I came to use ThermoWorks, okay? And this intro is going to be part of the next 3 or 4 videos as I talk to you about the different categories of ThermoWorks products that I like to use. I'm gonna have the same intro on each part. So if you've already seen part 1 and this is part 2, I'll have it written right down there what part this is. Okay, you can go ahead and skip the intro part, all right? If you hadn't seen part 1, then go ahead and watch this. Look, ThermoWorks invited me up to their place up there near Salt Lake City, Utah last weekend, and I got to meet some fabulous, wonderful YouTubers I look up to, YouTubers that I've learned from, YouTubers not just how to cook, but how to make videos, and a lot of them I haven't learned how to make videos very well, because if this is your first time here, I'm just a fella having fun with food, fire, and a phone camera on my front porch right now. Sometimes it's in my backyard or my kitchen, but I'm just a fella having fun with food, fire, and a phone camera. Anyway, I like ThermoWorks. Now, me coming to, if you've followed my channel over 5 years and you watch some of my videos from 5 years ago, I didn't even use digital thermometers. Don't trust them. I'm one that don't trust a lot of technology. I have a really healthy and totally rational fear of all things technological, computerized, and electronic. My kids don't believe that. They think it's completely the opposite of healthy and rational, you know? I think it's borderline cuckoo. I really am skeptical of a lot of computerized things. If you watch my channel, I don't do like pellet grills and things because I grew up during the era of 2001: A Space Odyssey. It was made in 1968, about the future, which was 2001, which nowadays is 21 years ago. Anyway, that movie, they had a computer named Hal, and he controlled everything the humans did, and he messed everything up. It was scary. So anyway, I don't like a lot of technology. So I was skeptical of digital thermometers. My mom, though, she loves gadgetry and she loves to cook. And she bought a Thermapen-ONE Mark IV a few years ago. She loved it. She let me try it out. I loved it. I was like, wow, I need to get a digital thermometer. I bought a cheap digital thermometer, even did a video review of it. It was real little, real dark letters, and it wasn't very good. I could easily tell that it wasn't my mama's Thermapen, okay? It was the Mark IV version that she had at the time. She's now upgraded to the Thermapen-ONE, which I'll be talking to you about in just a few minutes. In fact, up there at the thing, they even gave me a Thermapen-ONE. All right, look, I'll use a lot of different ThermoWorks products. While I was up there, it was said by one of the company executives there that ThermoWorks makes professional instruments. I already knew that. I don't use everything ThermoWorks does, and their top of the line stuff I don't need. I don't need that at my home. But what I do believe that everything ThermoWorks makes is equipment. And when I look at the stuff that's made sold in the grocery stores and the big box stores and the little thermometer that I bought, it's toys. It's like the difference between equipment and toys. It's like, I believe ThermoWorks is playing good old Major League hardball, and the others are playing front yard wiffle ball. I'm not saying that they're bad. I'm just saying they're not in the same league. You know what I'm saying? They're not in the same league. All right. So that's 4-minute intro. Let's go ahead and break this down into parts. The first part I'm going to talk about is the instant read thermometers. Then I'm going to talk to you about the leave-in probe thermometers, which are good for barbecue grills and stuff like that. And then I'm going to have another one where we talk about some other thermometers like the infrareds and that kind of stuff. All right, so thanks for watching Big Lou Barbecue. Here is the next part. Part 1, instant read thermometers. These are handheld devices that every cook should have. And the ones I had before were the old dial, okay? Now look, and my wife, she had one for candy making that was liquid alcohol or mercury or something in a tube, and she used to love to make pralines, and she would always mess up that first batch or so of pralines, or maybe that last batch of pralines. They wouldn't set right because you got to have the temperature exactly right, and she would squint to see it. I bought her a ThermoWorks product, and she never messed up another batch of pralines. Okay, I'll show you that in part 2. Okay, you can use these ThermoWorks products, these handheld things for candy making. You can use them to check your meat temp on your chicken. You can use them, all right? And ThermoWorks has a whole slew of them that they make, all right? Not all of them are the top of the line Thermapen. All right, they get a lot of grief sometimes about the Thermapen and how pricey it is. But I'm going to talk about the Thermapen, why it's so pricey, and why I think I should have bought one in the first place. All right, my mother had one of the Mark IVs. I'll get to that in a moment. But I liked it. I used it. I said, you know what? I need a digital thermometer. Well, I didn't want to spend the $100, and I bought the Thermapop. At that time, it was sold for just under $30. It's now sold for about $35. Things have been going up lately, okay? Because that was several years ago. I used this on my show for about 3 years. It's a fantastic thermometer, all right? You turn it on, okay? It has that little boot up cycle you got to wait for, all right? You got to wait for it to boot up. And then you can push this button in the back. Back here's got 2 buttons in the back. One to change it from Fahrenheit to centigrade, metric, Celsius, whatever you want to call it. I grew up calling it centigrade, all right? And it rotates around like that if you want to. And there's a light. I don't know if you can see the backlight on it, but there's a light on it. It lights up. It's just bright out here, okay? It's a great thermometer. I used it for years, but it doesn't work on all induction stoves. Evidently, it works on some, but it doesn't work on mine. And I did a video about how it doesn't work on induction stoves. Well, so then I found the ThermoWorks Dash, all right? Oh, by the way, a lot of my ThermoWorks stuff is yellow because I like the yellow ones. Some of them are red because I also like the red. They make like 8 or 9, maybe 10 different colors, okay? They've got pink and white and black and like lime green, which is my mama's favorite one, all right? And purple, all right? They got all kind of colors. So if you see all mine look yellow, not all ThermoWorks products are yellow, okay? Anyway, they made the Dash. This is a favorite of mine, okay? Comes on. Now, it doesn't rotate 90 degrees like the other one, but it does rotate, and it automatically rotates. You don't have to push a button to make it rotate. It automatically rotates. So it rotates 180 degrees, not 90 like the Thermapop, but you don't have to push a button to do that. It does have a button on the back to change it from Fahrenheit to Celsius, and you can also set it where you don't have to have the tenths of a degree, but your tenths of a degree are down below, so they're not really all that distracting, or at least I believe you can set it like that. I may be mistaken on that. I haven't used it since getting my Thermapen-ONE too much, but that doesn't mean it's not a bad thermometer. I really enjoy it. Another thing is that the Dash comes in this case right here, and it's held in there. It's held in there. It's not coming out. It's got lanyard holes, so you can put it on a lanyard, right? And you put it on a lanyard this way so that you can take that out and check the meat or whatever you're checking, and then you can put it back in, and you're hanging it on your neck in a lanyard. But if you don't want to do it that way, you can do this, take that off, and then you might have to lean over your food, but I don't recommend that with a barbecue grill. But anyway, you can put the lanyard on either side you want, and it's got magnets. A lot of people like magnets on their thermometers. All right, why? Because you can stick it on your refrigerator if your refrigerator is convenient to your stove. You can stick it on the hood of your stove. A lot of people do. They just put it right up there on the hood of their stove, okay? And then when they want to check the temperature, they just pull it off, pull it out, or just leave it there on the hood and just pull this out, and then it goes right back on the hood of the stove. All right, so magnets are convenient. So you'll see a lot of YouTube comparisons on thermometers that, oh, this one's got magnets, and you stick it on this part of your pellet grill that doesn't get hot. That's great, but magnets can also be an inconvenience. If you keep it in your knife drawer, well, what's going to happen, right? Or your silverware drawer, if it's not silver, if it's magnetic metal, you know, it can stick to things you don't want it to stick to having magnets. So keep in mind this has magnets. The Thermapop doesn't, but this is also certified to be accurate to less than 1 degree Fahrenheit, 0.9 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, even better than that for a Celsius degree. This is only plus or minus 2 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's not quite as accurate as the Dash. Highly recommend the Dash. It sells for around $39. but they go on sale often. Check the ThermoWorks website. They go on sale often. Also, I need to tell you that I am trying to sell you ThermoWorks products, and there is a link below to all of the products that are in this series, and because I get a little bit of commission off of it, okay? But I would still use ThermoWorks products even if I wasn't trying to sell them, because I believe they're in a different league than the others. All right, now we get to the Thermapen. This is the Thermapen-ONE. I got this one. I went and visited Salt Lake for the Thermapen-ONE celebration. This is the one I had before. It's red, all right, and there's a little silicone boot on it. The silicone boot has a little magnet. Remember I told you magnets can be convenient or magnets can be inconvenient. So it doesn't come with a magnet, but there's an option. And you get the silicone boot. It might give it a little bit more drop protection, but you don't need it. Dead nabbit, I just dropped my number one. I'll be right back. Oh boy, if this is the first time you've been to my channel, I'm just a fella having fun with food, fire, and a phone camera on my front porch. And I tell you what, that wasn't planned. I was talking about dropping them. Just like I let this one go right there, it hit the bricks on my porch and bounced over there into the flower bed. Slammed it hard, but watch this. It works. Is it still calibrated, Big Lou? I guarantee you it is, because I've dropped this red one several times. But I decided when I was up there to pick up a silicone boot just to give it a little bit of extra protection, because I know how much I drop it. And it comes with a lanyard hole, because I put that on there because I know how much I drop it. All right? And the silicone boot has a magnet, and it'll hang vertical like that. I know some of you young people call that portrait mode, and it'll hang horizontal like that. Some of you young people call that landscape mode. Vertical, horizontal. It won't hang horizontal very well. It'll kind of like sort of tilt down. But it does have a strong magnet that holds it to your hood of your stove, or to the refrigerator side, or to a part of your grill that doesn't get hot. Okay, but even if it gets a little warm on that part, it's got a silicone backing. Silicone's very heat resistant. But the cool thing is, remember I said magnets can be an advantage or a disadvantage. If you want the silicone boot and don't want the magnet, it can come out, okay? You take it out before you put the thing on there, but it's just in a little pocket, and the magnet slides in or the magnet slides out. So if you don't want the magnet in the silicone boot, you can remove it. Also, that silicone sleeve does glow in the dark. That way, if you drop it at night, you can find it. It does glow green. This picture was taken in a room with no windows and all the lights off. It is that red Thermapen-ONE glowing green. So we talked about the dash, we talked about the thermopop, got to talk about the Thermapen-ONE. There's two models of Thermapen that are being sold, the Classic and the Thermapen-ONE. The Classic sells for about $80, the Thermapen-ONE at normal price sells for about $105. They do go on sale. The Thermapen-ONE was on sale around Christmas in the neighborhood of $80-something. You can get 10% off by signing up for email, things like this, but it's darn expensive. But it's nice. And once I got my hands on one, and when I saw my mama's, I knew it was nice. There's no buttons on the outside. All the buttons are set here. You pop it open, it comes on. You lay it down, it goes off after 10, 20, 30 seconds, whatever you want it to. You pick it back up, it pops right back on. Need a backlight? It's instant. It's got a light right there. Turn it off. Now, if you buy the Classic version, it doesn't rotate. The screen doesn't rotate all four ways, okay, or even 180, but it's got the same technology right here. Let's talk about that. That's called a thermocouple. You see on the pop and the dash, it's called a thermistor, and that's a different technology. Now you can argue about which one's more advantageous, but the fact is the thermocouple is supposed to be quicker, and the thermocouple is more expensive. This is a thermocouple. Most other thermocouple thermometers are a little handheld unit or something, and a thing on a wire that goes in, because it's a complicated piece of technology. So if you see somebody comparing, oh, well, this looks like a switchblade type on switch. I hate the term switchblade, just pocket knife, you know, because it's not switchblade, it has a switch on it. It doesn't have a switch. You got to pull it open, right? I've heard some others say switchblade style. It's pocket knife style. All right, and are they comparing apples to apples and oranges to oranges, or are they comparing a thermistor product to a thermocouple product? all right, because the thermistors measures the resistance. All right, so let's get into it. See, this has two dissimilar metals, okay, and when the junction point heats up, it's called the hot junction there. When it heats up, okay, it puts some microvolts through the two different metals, and they can be read at the cold junction where they get changed into wires that can be used for the circuitry, like the silver stuff they use in printed circuit boards, or copper or whatever, okay? And it's measuring the microvolts that come out that are generated by the two metals as they heat up at the junction, where the thermistor is putting the current down the two wires and measuring the resistance of the current in ohms. So this measures and converts microvolts to a temperature reading, and this converts ohms to a temperature reading. I won't get any more scientific to you than that, but if you see people comparing a Thermapen to a cheaper fold-up one, are they comparing thermocouples to thermistors, or is it both thermocouples? Okay, because that's what you need to ask. That technology is, you can argue whether or not the thermocouple is better technology, but you're not going to argue whether or not it's more expensive, because it is more expensive. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I don't use my dash, I don't use my dot nearly as much since getting the Thermapen-ONE last year. All right, and it is this red one. And also, I dropped it into one of those oilless turkey fryers, a charbroil oilless turkey fryers. I was cooking some chicken or something in there, and it got a little hot. I dropped it in the bottom of the basket. I quickly found the hook, pulled the basket out. It wasn't in there, but just a few seconds, you know, and but it survived it. I've dropped it several times, but now if I drop it, it's got a little more protection. I got a silicone boot on it. All right, so that is the handheld thermometers. Better than any other grocery store thermometer you're going to buy. All right, it's worth it. It's worth it. Better than any other hand thermometer you're going to buy. I know a lot of YouTubers say that. Once you get your hand on one, I think they're true. If you see people comparing a cheaper model, make sure they're comparing thermocouples to thermocouples and thermistors to thermistors, okay? Anyway, thanks for watching Big Lou Barbecue, and there's going to be a part 2.